Yeah, yeah,
I don't think anybody else from our end is joining. Peter's on the Board of Selectmen meeting, which I've got to jump on after this. And
okay.
then I'm not sure if Nick from Gilbane is joining. Looks like Jesse's coming on, but
All right.
we could get started because I think we have the rooftop unit one first anyway, whenever you're
Yeah,
ready.
Perfect.
good. Emily, do you want to do the honors, or I can do it? It doesn't matter.
No, I'm
Ben's gonna
fine.
be the star of the show, so
Yeah, I'm fine too. All right, well, I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting of the school building HVAC Project Committee, Polson and Hand, a special meeting to order. It is 8:03 on Tuesday. Our first order of business is to approve the prior minutes from our meeting on July 1st. Thank you for sharing those, Raquel. Any comments about the meeting minutes?
no, very thorough, and I'd like to have a motion to accept them.
Okay, I'll second that. Any other discussion?
Mm.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. All right, our next order of business is new business. First off, a DHHS RTU replacement update.
So good news with that. We have all the units are on the roof.
Ooh,
6 out of 9 are functioning in what they call a manual mode. The controls aren't tied in yet, but they are providing cooling to the east building. Train started the last week, I think it was July 28th, the manufacturer, and they were here for about 5 or 6 days, starting everything up. As usual with these big units, there's all sorts of little issues that the factory techs take care of. The manufacturing process, the quality control is not what it used to be. So it's like the techs have to solve all the problems from the factory. So they've been working on that. They still have a punch list that they're working on the 3 units in the West building. But as of, we have a call tomorrow, but as of yesterday, they're still confident that everything will be fully up and running by the end of the week, which was the project end anyway. The high school is chomping at the bit to get people in the building. I hear they have already got people in the building, even though we've told them several times that that the building is shut down and there is no guarantee of cooling. But at this point, we're not stopping them. We're just telling them, hey, we can't tell you if and when units are going to shut down and come back online. So yeah, we're right towards the end. Again, they're working on punch lists. They're integrating all the control system, so we can get these units under control. And the substantial completion is expected to be by Friday. And then the final piece is what they call tab, which is testing and balancing, which is where they go through and basically calibrate airflow. With these units, it's a much more simple process than it is when you're doing a distributed system. But that's going to be about a 2-day process that'll take place the 19th, 20th, and maybe the 21st. So the units will all be operating at the end of this week. That's just like a final checkout of the system, and they make little adjustments then when everything's working. So we're basically there.
that's great. So, what's the warranty on these things? I mean, how long do we have the techs available for support if something happens?
I've got to check the spec on that. Usually it's a year to 18 months. I don't remember which one went in the specification for these.
I have to say, over the last month as I've been traveling, the first thing I look at is the HVAC and ductwork, and in every building, it's like, I just like, oh, that looks good. That looks that's in
Don't
bad
turn into
shape.
me, you'll annoy your family.
Yeah. So,
Like I like at the casino when you're taking the elevator down from the parking garage and you can see everything they've got on the rooftop. I'm like telling my 13-year-old, I'm like, that's an air-cooled chiller over there. She's like, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'll have to look next time at the casino now. Um, that all sounds great. That'll be very nice to have that project behind us.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All in all, very smooth.
Good.
Contractor was great. They were really good to work with. Very, very high quality work. The factory techs from Train were also great. So, as long as they could finish these couple of little items and get the things, fully running by the end of the week. Again, there's been no indication that that won't be the case. I think we could chalk this one up as a success.
Great.
It's awesome. Super. Thank you. Good update. Our next item of business is Polson HVAC electrical auditorium and gym improvements update.
So I was hoping Nick would be on because I wanted to get it. I haven't connected with him since I got back Friday, but they were supposed to be going out to bid. Gilbane's bid package, which the goal was in September to come back to us with a GMP proposal. The one wrinkle I heard about while I was gone was Jesse could elaborate more on this, but BL was coordinating with Eversource and Gilbane. We're basically starting the process to do the upgrade of the building electrical service from the utility company perspective because they've got to bring in their new transformer and everything. And the building was supposed to be upgraded from a 2,000 amp service to a 4,000 amp service. Now that's a big service, and I think one of the reasons to go that high was to allow for future, work in the building if we were going to add ventilation or anything like that to some of those core areas. Eversource now basically maxes out at 3,000 amp before they kick it into a whole nother like tranche of work. So 3,000 amp is like what they consider their biggest individual service, from what I understand, before they get into like a major facility. Like if you were like a data center or something like that that uses a ton of electricity, then they do these like dual feeds, and it's a whole other realm. So BL was looking into, will 3,000 amp be okay? From an infrastructure perspective, it doesn't change too much. The transfer switch on the generator was a 3,200 amp switch. So that really won't change much. Most of the electrical gear remains the same because we're still into kind of big boy systems. It will change some wire sizes and then the main breaker size. All of that will end up likely being a credit to the project. But Jesse, I don't know if you have any more information. Again, I was just kind of catching up on all this yesterday.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating to us because it happens every project. The utility won't coordinate anything until you get closer to end construction. So we sent them all the information to coordinate this stuff back in February, and now wouldn't respond or do anything until now, in August, 6 months later. So we do have to change some equipment a little bit and just figure out how we're going to make that work the best. Um, I think Ben, the one part we've also refined the existing building loads a little bit since 6 months ago, and we think they're lower than our estimates were 6 months ago. So
Oh, good.
it does look like the whole everything for this project plus the future would fit in that 3,000 amps.
Okay.
But you mentioned some other options yesterday about like keeping the gear the same size as we specified, because obviously at this point, since it's already bid out, you're not going to get 100% of that back if you
Right.
make it smaller
Right.
and change it. So yeah, we'll have to make some revisions there and continue coordinating with Eversource. And they threw in the requirement about the survey yesterday, which is, we've seen that occasionally. So and they require an A2 survey, which is just different and a different amount of information on the survey than certain other surveys.
What it's referring to is Eversource has an easement across our property. There are actually utility company poles that run down from Green Hill to the Polson campus. And when Eversource starts their work here, they usually go back and check those easements just to make sure they're in order before they upgrade service. Eversource has come back to us and said, we don't have any record of any easement, which is strange, but not completely unheard of. So I'm working with the town clerk's office and our land use department. They did a cursory check yesterday and they don't have anything either. But our town planner's back on Monday, so I'm going to coordinate with her. I want to avoid having to do a whole start from scratch because there's, like Jesse was saying, you have to do what's called an A2 survey of the entire property. Then you have to have, a lawyer involved, and you're talking probably, it's not huge money. I mean, we're talking probably $4,000, $5,000, but definitely something we don't want to do if we already have one sitting. It doesn't matter if it's from 1960. If we could dust it off and say, here it is, we're good. So again, there is not a huge project impact here. It's just the most recent development. It's not really going to hold anything up. We'll talk tomorrow when we have our project meeting on how we want to proceed. What my thought was is instead of redesigning all the electric gear, We put in the same gear and we just do what's called a D rate, which we basically use the cabinet for the 4,000 amp and we put in a 3,000 amp breaker. It's not that simple, but I mean, what that does is, like Jesse was saying, when you go into a credit situation, you're not going to get the full value of the credit. Like as if, so say, for example, you bid a project out and it comes back at $1 million and then something happens and you say, okay, we're going to make this, that instead. And the contractor goes, okay, we'll give you a $100,000 credit. Well, if you had bid it that way, you may have gotten the job for 750 because there's really no incentive for them to like sharpen their pencil on a credit. So what I was thinking is, since we already bought this stuff, let's put it in place. We could have it. It's not going to go bad. It's good for 100 years. And then if down the road, we put a wing on the building, we go, okay, boom, put that new breaker in, and the rest of it was already all bought and paid for. So we'll maneuver through that. But all in all, we're moving forward. I still hope to have that proposal in September. That'll be the next big decision point for the committee. And other than that, we're on track.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Great. Okay, that's it for Polson. All right, so then we'll move on to our fifth order of business, which is approval of invoices. I'll read them all at once and ask for a motion. So do I have a motion for the following invoices? The first is Silver Petroselli and Associates, invoice number 25-2268, $1,800 for professional services through June 30th, 2025. The second is Save More Cooling and Heating Incorporated, invoice number 17723 for $161,000, $161,023.20. And then the third and final invoice, also to Save More Cooling and Heating Incorporated, invoice number 17842, $552,520. So I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that. Any discussion or comment?
No, what exactly does the Save More Cooling and Heating, what does that apply to?
Those are two progress payments they're the prime contractor on the HVAC job.
Right, and that would be towards hand, I guess okay.
It's just for their monthly work.
Okay, thank you.
So they're progress payments.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right. All in favor of approving the invoices?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the invoices are approved. Thank you. Our next item is public comment. I don't see that we have any members of the public on the Zoom. It's just the five of us. Any other closing remarks before we adjourn? So we'll see each other again. Our next meeting is that first week of September. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, we'll go back on that, the first Tuesday schedule.
Okay, so September 2nd.
Yeah.
The first day of school.
Is that correct, Raquel? Are we back on that?
Yes, September 2nd.
Awesome.
Right, it'll be a big day.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys. Thank you.